Well, hello everyone and happy Veterans Day. It is digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four this fine Veterans Day afternoon. Wherever you're watching Before the Four right now, whether it is on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, thank you so much for watching and spending just a little of your Monday afternoon with me here. We have a lot to get into today, as of course it is Veterans Day, so I think it is about time we jump in to some of today's top stories. And of course, starting things off with Veterans Day, earlier today, thousands took to downtown Huntsville to celebrate and honor the many veterans here in the Huntsville community. What you're seeing on screen is just a little bit of the annual Veterans Day Parade, which of course began right at 11:11 this morning. The parade was aired on WAFF 48 and live streamed here wherever you're watching Before the Four right now. You can still watch the full parade on our website, WAFF.com. You can also head over to our YouTube channel and Facebook page right now and give it a watch. But now let's turn to 48's Haley Baker, who has the history of today's annual parade. Take a listen.
The Huntsville Veterans Day Parade was launched in the early 90s by the late retired Major Hal Meeker. A decorated soldier, Meeker took on every aspect of the parade, from organizing it to serving as parade marshal for nearly 2 decades. His leadership and commitment turned a modest gathering into a beloved Huntsville tradition. Now, Meeker passed away in 2018 at the age of 79, but his legacy is woven into the very fabric of the parade we know today. As the parade began to grow even more in the mid-90s, retired CW4 Ed Banville joined in.
People would say, okay, we're going to have a parade, show up. They'd show up down by the old Hilton Hotel behind them, just a line. Hal and his friends for the American Legion Post 237 would put them in some sort of order and then send them on their way.
Then, as the event continued to grow, retired Brigadier General Bob Drolet stepped in, expanding what was a single-day event into a week-long celebration.
Ed ran into trouble with Hal on the parade because the parade began to grow as the city began to grow. And they needed an organization that had manpower and money to help support the parade. And that's when they came to AUSA. And we took the parade under our umbrella, and the first thing we did was want to grow the parade, which was one day, grow veterans into Veterans Week, and brought in the events of the Veterans Dinner, the Veterans Breakfast, the YMCA Prayer Breakfast.
In 1997, WAFF proudly joined as a sponsor, broadcasting the parade live to the community, bringing greater visibility and support for our veterans. With 48's own Liz Hurley serving as the MC.
In fact, the Channel 48 came in, WAFF TV, and the televising and supported veterans at the same time. So give you a lot of credit for that happening.
Yeah, 48 was a big player in growing from a parade to Veterans Week. So that was a big step and a big move for us.
As the home of Redstone Arsenal, Huntsville takes immense pride in honoring its military community. This annual parade is more than a celebration. It's a legacy initiated by veteran Hal Meeker and kept alive by many others, a proud tradition set to march through the heart of downtown Huntsville for generations to come. In Huntsville, Haley Baker, 48 on your side.
Well, thank you, Haley. A great day today in downtown Huntsville, honoring all those who have served. A special thank you to all the veterans out there watching right now. And of course, speaking of veterans, I got to shout out a Desert Storm veteran who just happens to be our 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist. His name, of course, is Brad Travis. Brad was at the Veterans Day Parade today, so he won't be on today's Before the Four, but make sure to stick around for the latest forecast from Brad coming up in our evening newscasts. And now let's turn over to an update to a story we brought you all last week. This update is the Huntsville shooting that occurred last month. A second victim has now died following a deadly shooting near a gas station along Meridian Street. Now, police say the shooting happened on October 12th and said 22-year-old Damian Manning was first found dead on the scene. Police have now said 24-year-old Devontae Dixon has died in connection to the shooting as well. A total of 5 people, all 21 years old or younger, have been arrested as a result of this incident. They are all facing reckless murder charges. And now a story, in case you missed it, a frightening scene at Twin Peaks in Huntsville Saturday as shots rang out, leaving 1 dead. Now, according to the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, the suspect was identified as 21-year-old Jeremiah Matkin. 48's Daquan Lee with more on that deadly shooting.
What should have been a typical Saturday night filled with fun and football ended in gunshots and horror. Police say 1 man is dead after an argument led to gunshots being fired inside the Twin Peaks restaurants. Sunday, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency announced this man, 21-year-old Jeremiah Matkins, was arrested and charged with murder. He's accused of killing 23-year-old Rayshun Bates. 3 others were also injured in the shooting, but their status is currently unknown. Prior to the shooting, police say there was an argument between several people. Some witnesses on scene say it may have begun over football. Others dispute that. Right now, we don't know if these victims were part of that argument or innocent bystanders. Shortly after the shooting, Huntsville Police Chief Kirk Giles had this to say.
There was an officer working off duty, and he was an officer involved shooting as well. Since that time, several people have been transported to local hospitals where they're receiving treatment at this time. Aaliyah has arrived, and they will be investigating this, and so you'll be needing to get your updates from them from this point on.
Aaliyah now confirms that off-duty officer did fire their weapon during this confrontation, but it appears as though his shots did not hit anyone. Matkins was booked into the Madison County Jail with a $50,000 bond. Reporting in Huntsville, Daquan Lee, 48 on your side.
Thank you, Daquan. And 48's Callie Neese is continuing to look into this situation today. Callie today is speaking with an eyewitness of the shooting. She'll have more for you all coming up. But now, turning over to some state news over the weekend, a shooting on the campus of Tuskegee University during their homecoming celebration. Simon Schuschler with WSFA has the story.
It was supposed to be a weekend of celebration, 100 years of homecomings at a university that has played a role in shaping American history. For all of Saturday, that's what it was. But less than 2 hours into early Sunday morning, that all changed.
I mean, it was something like I had never seen before, and I want to see anything else like that. And we had security on campus, all day, all week. So no indication that anything like this might happen.
While there has already been 1 arrest made so far, law enforcement says they expect more.
Well, if you've seen some of the videos, it was shooting all over the place. So I think there will be multiple suspects. So we're going to deal with it and try to get every last one of them.
Tuskegee Mayor Lawrence Haygood Jr. emphasized there was a strong law enforcement presence throughout homecoming festivities. However, the shooting took place at an area law enforcement didn't know was crowded.
The unfortunate thing was this occurred in an area that no one knew about. It was unauthorized, so there would have been security there, I'm sure, had it been a planned event.
Tuskegee alumni and crisis communication expert Ivy K. Pendleton wants people to understand that the shooting is not a common occurrence and Tuskegee is safe.
This university is not a war zone, and if you look at the history of Tuskegee University, we haven't had any incidents like this.
The suspect in custody was found to have a pistol with a machine gun conversion device, also known as a Glock switch. While it is federally illegal, there is no state law in Alabama against them. That means only U.S. attorneys can prosecute the suspect, who is now federally charged with the possession of a machine gun.
Well, thank you, Simon. And the suspect has now been identified as 25-year-old Jaquez Myrick. He has been charged with federally possessing a machine gun, and that is who you see on screen there. Myrick is currently being held at the Montgomery County Detention Facility. And today, university officials spoke in a press conference where they addressed added safety measures coming to the university. You can watch that full press conference right now on our Facebook account as well as our YouTube channel. And now, following several arrests made recently here in the Tennessee Valley in connection to elder abuse. 48's Noah Cowell today is speaking with an expert from AARP to speak about some of the signs of elder abuse. 2 were arrested last week and charged with elder abuse, one of them in DeKalb County and the other in Limestone County. 55-year-old Charlie Kane Jr., who you are seeing on screen, was arrested last Tuesday after allegedly beating his parents. Make sure to stay tuned to our evening newscast to hear from 48's Noah Cowell. And now another story in case you missed it. Whooping cough cases, they are continuing to rise here in North Alabama. And as of Friday, there were nearly 200 cases across the state, as well as 50 here in the Tennessee Valley. 48's Callie Neese with more into these cases.
I was really scared. You know, I have type 1 diabetes. He's a brain cancer survivor.
Patricia Holcomb is a mother of a student in Limestone County schools. When she heard the news that her high-risk son was exposed to pertussis, also known as whooping cough, she was terrified.
You know, I think it's really important for the kids to be vaccinated. I wasn't aware that he didn't have that vaccination, and for one of us in our home to get whooping cough would be extremely dangerous.
Holcomb and her son are immune compromised. Dr. Wes Stubblefield from the Alabama Department of Public Health says that whooping cough can be dangerous for high-risk patients.
We need to know who's most impacted by pertussis, and those are young infants and people that have immune system problems. So people that are immune compromised, so people that would be on chemotherapy, have a solid organ transplant, those that are on immunosuppressive drugs for other reasons. Those are the people that are most affected.
Stubblefield says whooping cough can be deadly for infants. He wants to remind the public that they should be covering their mouths when coughing or sneezing and to get vaccinated to help stop the spread.
Right now we have 192 cases that are confirmed or suspected in Alabama. In the northern district, which encompasses Lauderdale County all the way over to Jackson County, we have 52 confirmed, 9 probable, and 2 suspect. That's as of 11/7.
Well, thank you, Callie. And now a story that just broke on the 48 News app. A Phil Campbell man is now dead after a single vehicle wreck occurred last night. Now, officials say 46-year-old Stephen Lauderdale was fatally injured when a 2007 Honda he was driving in left the roadway and struck a tree. After the initial impact, the vehicle overturned down an embankment and struck a fence. Now, today, Lauderdale was located and pronounced dead on the scene. The crash happened in Phil Campbell along Alabama 172 near Tessner Road, which is 1 mile east of Hackleburg. But a breaking news story right there. But yeah, my thoughts are certainly with Lauderdale's family, that is for sure. But now let's turn over a bit to national politics and talk about Donald Trump's impending return to the White House. The president-elect naming new members to his second administration overnight. He has done the same today as he prepares to meet one-on-one with President Biden this week. NBC's Garrett Hake has the very latest.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history.
Overnight, President-elect Donald Trump announcing a key role in his new administration, writing that Tom Homan will oversee the nation's borders and will also, quote, be in charge of all deportation of illegal aliens back to their country of origin. Homan, the former ICE acting director, has been an outspoken critic of the current administration.
I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
He was also a supporter of Trump's controversial zero-tolerance policy, which led to thousands of families being separated at the southern border. Homan recently asked on 60 Minutes about Trump's future mass deportation plans.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
And it comes as Trump is looking to consolidate his power in Washington.
We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good.
on Sunday demanding that the Senate allow recess appointments, which would let the president-elect put cabinet officials in place without them going through the confirmation process or even getting a vote. The three possible candidates for Republican Senate leader quickly posting agreement. Meanwhile, President Biden is preparing to host Trump at the White House on Wednesday. It's the first encounter between the two men since their debate last June, with Biden's shaky performance forcing him out of the race. The president ignoring questions on Sunday.
Do you still believe that Trump is a threat to democracy?
All this as allies of Biden and Vice President Harris grapple with the path ahead for anxious Democrats.
To me, it's not just about the campaign. It's about what does the Democratic Party stand for.
Well, thank you, Garrett. And now a nonprofit in Colorado harnesses the healing power of horses to help people. Those people including veterans. NBC's Rachel Krause reports.
Come on. Walking into medicine, horse. Therapists here are ready to get to work.
Hello. He's like, I'll be friendly.
Colette Beck with the Boulder Vet Center says equine therapy is in demand.
Now it's our most popular group.
They offer therapy for many groups here, but in recent years, both the horses and therapists have built strong connections to serving veterans.
Sometimes it can happen within 5 minutes.
Therapist Michael Mahoney says behaviors that show up in veterans' relationships pop up quickly working with the horses here.
When they are working with the horse to lead, they have these moments of like, oh, this is the first time that I've led without feeling like I'm being domineering or controlling of the partner that I'm working with, but actually inviting them into an activity together. And then they start to say, oh, that's making me think of how I might lead with my children or at work. And it can be really powerful.
It surprised me some of the moving and touching moments that I experienced with them. You know, just that some of them for the first time, they got to experience feeling calm, because I think it's easier for them to trust animals before people. And so I've seen some pretty incredible moments.
Okay, come here. You're doing good.
A veteran himself,
Come here. Whoa.
Nate Parks has felt the growth here firsthand.
I've learned a lot about myself. It's made me a more confident person.
That makes the funding cuts for their program tough.
Everybody feels it when the economy takes a step back.
Rising costs, from insurance to the hay for the horses, widening that funding gap.
Yeah, so currently the need is about $22,000 that we're short.
They're searching for new grants and funds, but looming cuts are what everyone here hopes to avoid.
It would be tragic to not have this space that folks can return to round after round, or have new folks come in, because we really have seen the ripple effects in the community be pretty powerful.
We're hoping, you know, that our veterans will be able to continue. So yeah, it's definitely, it would be a loss if they couldn't do it.
Searching for a new path.
You are loved.
To ensure these four-legged therapists can continue their sessions.
Yeah, cross fingers.
Well, awesome story there. Thank you, Rachel. And now check this out. 98,546,123,589.8 divided by 5. Now be honest. How long would it take you to figure that out in your head? I had a hard time even saying it, honestly. But after a tragic accident, a man in Texas now has the gift of numbers and can make that calculation almost instantly. Local News Live correspondent Gordon Collier introduces us to Blake.
987,423,412 divided by 5. 197,484,682.4.
Complex calculations that would leave the average person scratching their head are no problem for 25-year-old Blake Highland.
You are correct. 3,789 divided by 3.
Oh, that'd be 1,263.
The answers just seemed to pop into his head.
3:13 p.m.
913 minutes in a day.
How many seconds?
How many seconds at that time? That'd be 780 seconds.
How do you do this?
I don't know. I do not know how I can tell you how many minutes it is in a day. You could go 4:16 p.m. 976 minutes a day. I do not know how to do that, sir.
It just pops into your head.
It does. With zero math, I don't know. I wish I did. That would be cool if I did, but...
He hasn't always had this amazing relationship with numbers. When he was 14, he was just a regular kid. Good student, gifted athlete, especially in gymnastics, until a tragic accident at a meet one day.
I was looking around and I didn't see Blake, and all of a sudden I saw the commotion over in the foam pit where when he vaulted and he landed on the side of the pit, his head whipped down into exposed concrete. He immediately suffered massive strokes, and I rushed out there, and the paramedics came, and I called Cindy at that time, and I said, hey, Blake had an accident, and she's like, you're kidding me, because, you know, and I said, this is not a joke.
The other way?
After 16 months of intensive therapy, Blake beat the odds and walked out of the hospital. And he left with more than scars. He left with a gift.
Do you have any idea why numbers make such sense to you?
Because numbers never change, sir. So English changes every day, history changes every day, science changes every single day. But numbers always stay the same. Always have faith in God. God will always help you through whatever obstacle you're going through right now. Even on your worst days, God is still loving you and holding your hand. And just don't ever give up, because you can overcome whatever you're going through right now in this moment.
Wow, how impressive is that? And let me tell you, I would have loved to have sat next to him in one of my math classes I took either in high school or college. That would have been incredible. But that is such an awesome story there. And yeah, I mean, I love it so much. And now I think it is time we head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscasts. The latest from all the Veterans Day activities that went on across the Tennessee Valley today. You're not going to want to miss that. Another story you're just not going to want to miss. 48's Aria Pond speaking with a Shoals veteran who helped test atomic bombs. Awesome story there. And then finally, a new Veterans Park coming to the city of Gunnersville. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscasts. And I think it is just about that time. It is, of course, time for Facebook fun. And today's 48 Facebook question of the day: what is a luxury you thought you'd never need, but now you can't live without it? I'm trying to think of one of mine. Definitely Roku TV. That is something I never had, but now I do have it and I love it. The internet went out at my apartment last week, and I went a few days without my Roku TV, and that was honestly, I could live without it, but it was not as easy to live without it. Let's just say that. But what I want to know is what you all had to say. And let's see what you all had to say. Nicole said, I grew up without air conditioning. Now I can't imagine life without it. Of course, I didn't live in Alabama then. Absolutely. In the Alabama summers, there is no way I think I could live without air conditioning. No way, Jose. There is just no way. But I couldn't even imagine growing up without air conditioning. That is one of those things that I think a lot of Americans, a lot of us, we take AC for granted. It didn't always used to be this way. So, Nicole, that is an awesome comment right there. Thank you so much for sharing. And let's see what else you all had to say. Brittany Walker said DoorDash. Yes, I am personally an Uber Eats user, but the same thing goes with DoorDash. It is just so convenient, and especially when you get home after a long work day and you don't really feel like going to the store to get some food. DoorDash definitely comes in handy. So Brittany, I feel you on that. I understand 100%. Brittany, thank you so much for commenting. Let's see who else commented. Laura Frame said heated seats in my car. And it is getting to be about that time of the year. It is starting to cool off a little bit, especially as we near into December and certainly January, February. That is a necessity. Gotta have those heated seats. My car personally doesn't have heated seats. So Laura, I'm a little jealous. I really wish my car had some heated seats, but absolutely, I could definitely, once you go and get heated seats, it would be really hard to go back without heated seats. So absolutely, Laura, thank you so much for commenting. Rebecca said definitely air fryer and robo vacuum. I don't have either. I kind of have an air fryer. I have an air fryer / toaster, but not a full-on air fryer. And I would imagine cooking would be tenfold easier with the air fryer. And I am also jealous of you, Rebecca. I wish I had a robo vacuum instead of having to vacuum myself. Well, I don't even think I own an actual vacuum, to be honest. Hardwood in my apartment, so I'm doing a lot of sweeping. But Rebecca, thank you so much for commenting. And then Amanda Harris said Red Bull, and I could not agree more with that. If you've never had a Red Bull, I highly recommend that you never get one, because once you get a Red Bull, that is just something you cannot live without. Amanda, I feel you on that 100%. Have to get a Red Bull a day. Me personally, I drink just about a Red Bull a day. But Amanda, thank you so much for commenting. Yeah, and everyone who commented on Facebook Fun today, thank you so much for commenting. Checking to see if there's any comments at home. It does not look like that. But anytime you're watching Before the Four, always feel free to leave a comment and I will shout you out. But that is just about all she wrote for today's Before the Four. Thank you for sticking around and spending a little bit of your Veterans Day here with me on Before the Four. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you download the 48 Digital app, the 48 First Alert Weather app, and of course the 48 Sports Zone app. We are getting deep into the high school football playoffs this week. There are 16 Tennessee Valley teams that remain. Will your team get the win this Friday? That is the question. And if you get the 48 Sports Zone app, you will know for sure Friday night, even if you can't make it out to the game. But turn on those push notifications for each of those apps and you will never miss a breaking news story. But with that said, that is just about all the time I have. But of course, as always, thanks for watching. You all have a great night.